Hello.
Hello, girly pops. My name is Singularity Dubs, and welcome back to Hello. At 19 years old, I left everything I knew in my home country of Venezuela. I left my family, my language, my friends, my mom. I left absolutely everything. And I got on that plane with $200 to my name, just survival instinct, and hoping that this new life was going to be gentler than what I was experiencing back home. And the reality is that immigration is tough because immigration isn't just about moving to a new place. It's about grieving in silence. It's about rebuilding yourself from scratch. It's learning how to be a stranger and then how to belong into a new society. So today, after 7 years of having immigrated, I am sharing my full story without, not the polished version that social media wants to hear. I'm sharing the real raw experience, and this episode might be a little bit long because, well, it's 7 years packed into one podcast episode. But, anyways, if you've ever felt like you're carrying your entire life in your chest because you've had to start over in whatever, scenario, because you're moving to college or you're leaving your parents' house, if you felt like starting over, it's just taking a lot from you, this episode is for you. But first, if you are a returning listener and you've listened to a couple of episodes and you like them, please don't forget to follow and subscribe because it helps me out a lot and it just makes me realize that you're actually liking what I'm putting out. And if you're not liking what I'm putting out, let me know in the comments. And the drinks of the day, it's water and matcha. You can see the matcha, but I promise you it's the best matcha I've ever had in my life and I made it. But first of all, let me just paint a picture of where I was at, where my country was at, and like just the whole picture so that you can have an understanding, okay? I came to the US when I was 19. I had just turned 19 and I came in February 2018. So 2018 was a rough year for my country, okay? If you were just in the news from back in the day, like the lines were crazy to get food, there wasn't any food, inflation was insane, crime was also insane. It was honestly like a tough time. And I think anyone who lived in the country during those years, I think like maybe 2014 to 2018, those were the roughest years that I think the country's seen in a while, or at least those were my roughest year in the country at the time. Political climate was, complicated. There were two sides, as there has been for a long time, and it's not like we really had any hopes that the current government was going to exit. And it was complicated. I mean, it's a dictatorship, what can I say, right? Like, it's been 26 years. Like, no one really has, I don't think, any hope that it's going to happen anytime soon. And at the time, although things were bad, there weren't like elections that were going to happen. Like, it was very much so, well, this is what we have and we have to deal with it. But immigrating was never something that I really had in my head, okay? I wanted to stay in my country and I wanted to just make it better. I was young and naive and I had all of these ideas and I wanted to be a doctor and I got a scholarship for medical school and I was going to be a neurosurgeon because, in case you didn't know, I have epilepsy and I went through a lot of doctors to get to understand my epilepsy because I was really having just a lot of issues with it when I was younger, and that was what my dream was. Okay, so I was like, I'm going to go to med school, be a surgeon, help people, make the country better in whatever extent I can. That's what my goal was. But my mom was, of course, older than me, wiser than me. She just had bigger expectations, and not that like being a doctor is not a lot. Like, of course, that's it's insane to be a doctor. Like, great, but she told me, you can be the best doctor, but if you're in a country that's not prosperous, I don't know if that's a word, but like if you're in a country that's not doing good, you're not going to do good. And I want you to do great. So I want you to go out and see the world. But she was like, before you commit to this being a doctor thing, that it's maybe like a 14-year commitment. And once you start, you're not going to leave. You're not going to immigrate. You're going to, finish it because I know you. I want you to go out and see the world. I want you to experience a new culture. I want you to just see something different. I want you to open your eyes and realize that like this is not the only thing that exists. Like, yeah, our country is beautiful, our people are amazing, like our culture is wonderful, but you need to see what's out there. Because also keep in mind, I came from a very like medium medium class family. Like we weren't rich, we weren't poor, we were medium class. Like we could buy things, but it's not like we could just, I don't know, go on trips, you know? So I had never been on a plane. I had been to like a couple trips, like locally in my country, but I had never gotten on a plane. Like the first time I got in a plane was to come to the US. The government took over when I was born, literally in 1998, a couple months before I was born, I believe. So I had never seen anything different than the government we have right now. And when my mom was telling me all of this, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. She wants me to leave. And, you know, in 2019, everyone was leaving. I want to say like maybe 2016 to 2018, it was a season of just saying goodbye to all of your friends. Like every weekend tenías una despedida, like saying goodbye to somebody, like a party to just a farewell party. That's what it's called. A farewell party to for your friend, whoever was immigrating that weekend. And I was like, I cannot believe that's going to be me. Like, no, I don't want to say bye to people. And also like a lot of my friends had already left. So I was like, who in the world am I going to say goodbye to? But yeah, I was like, here we go again. This conversation again. I do not want to leave. I'm going to be a doctor, like blah, 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 blah. So here comes the au pair opportunity. So au pairs are kind of like nannies. They're cultural exchanges. So they come to the US with a J1 visa. And you're supposed to be here for 1, maybe 2 years. Like you can do a 1-year program or you can extend for 1 extra year and do 2 years. Essentially, you're a nanny, okay? They sell it to you like you are a cultural exchange and you're going to learn and you're going to be part of a family. You are an underpaid slave, okay? So my mom proposes this to me and she's like, here's this program is 1 to 2 years. That's not that much time. I sort of got like, I know it feels like a lot right now, but 2 years of your life where you can go out, save money. Okay. Like if maybe that's like the best that you can, because if you know me, you know that I'm like financially oriented AF. Okay. Like if there's something I care about, it's money. So she was like, listen, you want to be a doctor? Great. The books are expensive. So at least go. I want you to see the world. I want you to experience something else. But if the only benefit you're going to see from it is that you're going to be able to save money, then so be it. And then I started thinking, well, she might be going somewhere with this idea. And I took her up on it. I said, okay, it's 1 year. I wasn't even thinking of doing the 2 years. It's 1 year. I'm going to go. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to practice English. Mind you, I was always very good in English. Like English always just came very natural to me. Like I would always watch YouTube videos in English. My school had very good level of English too, and I signed up for English classes since I was like very, very young, and I was doing them every weekend for years. Like my English level was always very high. But I was like, like coming back home and then saying like, yeah, I lived in the US for 2 years as a cultural exchange. It's going to give me a leg up on something. I don't know what, but on something. So I decided to take my mom up on it. And I said, okay, let's start this process because it's also not something that just happens in 2 seconds. It's something that takes a while. You know, you need visas, you need documentations and certifications and like all of these things. I needed to be CPR certified and I needed to be a certain level of like swimming certified. I have no idea, like a bunch of certifications because you were going to be taking care of kids. And as I said, and I'm so sorry if I'm rambling, but like the financial part of it was a huge incentive for me because by the time I came to the US, I was so skinny and like never in my life had I ever been so skinny and like I felt great. I was like, I am in the top of the world right now. Mind you, I was not skinny because I was just going to Pilates every morning. No. There just wasn't any food. Like I'm going to paint this picture and like this is always something that I tell to people to like explain to them the level of. There was a point I was in college. It was my first semester. I only did 1 semester and we couldn't really afford that much food. So some days my mom and I would have breakfast, together, like 1 arepa. She had an arepa, I had an arepa, amazing, we ate. And then let's say Monday I would have lunch and she wouldn't have lunch. And then Tuesday she would have lunch but I wouldn't have lunch. And then for dinner we would eat popcorn. Which like now I look back and I'm like I feel like I would eat popcorn now for dinner because whatever, I don't feel hungry. But at the time when it's not your choice and you have to do it because there's nothing else, it's tough, But I had never lived something like that. And it wasn't just like, oh, there wasn't any money. Like there wasn't any food in the country. Like even if you had the money, you couldn't find it. You had to make these long ass lines and you could only buy depending on your ID's last number. So I think like, let's say 0 and 1s would buy Mondays and Wednesdays. And then 2 and 3s would buy Tuesdays and Thursdays and so on and so on. It's like you couldn't just buy whenever you felt like it. you had to buy when you were assigned a day to buy. Which now, after living in the US for 7 years, that sounds absolutely insane. And I know that's not how the country's operating right now. Like, I don't think that it exists anymore. But that was insane at the time. So, after having experience having to make lines for hours to buy food and having to not buy food whenever you felt like it, and then not having food, I said, you know what, maybe I should go to the US and experience what do they have to offer. So the trip is planned. I matched with a family. I'm supposed to go to Texas, and I was going to have 3 kids to take care of because remember, I was an au pair. It was, I think, a 3-month-old, a 1-year-old, and a 4-year-old, I believe. So 3 kids for a 19-year-old. Insane. And I wouldn't necessarily say there was a lot of fear. I think I was kind of numb throughout the process. I was like, okay, this is happening. I guess it's happening. I'm doing it. Like we already paid. I don't really have any other choices. I'm doing this. And I think it didn't really hit me until I was at the airport ready to say goodbye to my mom. Yeah, like I think back of those, like that time was just insane. It was insane because at the airport, I'm like, oh, I'm about to cross these gates and am I coming back? Am I not coming back? Because I knew it was just for a year or two. But at the same time, the political climate back home was like so insane that I was like, you know, there is a chance that I'm not coming back. Like, I wouldn't be the first that, you know, how many leave and just don't come back? So when am I really going to see my mom again? So I feel like I was just really numb throughout the process until I was about to cross those gates of the airport. And I was like, oh, I am leaving. Maybe I should reconsider. Also, I'm a Scorpio, okay? I'm like a very, it's my way or the highway type of thing. And because I didn't want to say goodbye, because in my head it was going to make it just a lot harder to process and to just to do the whole thing, I didn't tell anybody that I was leaving. I didn't tell family that I was leaving. I didn't tell friends that I was leaving. I was like, it's going to be a year, okay? Like by the time I come back, we're gonna laugh about it. It's going to be fine. So I didn't tell anybody. I just packed up my things and left, and it's been 7 years. And now I look back, and I don't think I regret it necessarily, because the friends that are going to be my friends were going to be my friends whether I say goodbye or not, you know. And everyone was saying goodbye every weekend. Like I didn't want to be another one. Like I didn't want to hurt people. And like, okay, we're doing a party and we're going to pretend that we're all happy, but like we're actually kind of hurting. And like, yeah, we're excited for you because you're starting a new life, but it's not that nice. So I just packed up and left. And I'm not going to get into the whole what happened at the airport because my just getting to the US was like so dramatic. Like I almost got kidnapped. Insane. I need to make another episode about just that. But the first weeks of being in this place, I think I was still like acclimated. Okay, like I was trying to acclimate to my new reality. But going from okay, my mom is taking care of me to a certain extent to oh, now I have to take care of 3 kids. that was a lot, and I honestly don't think like the upper program should work that way. But anyways, I learned a lot. But my first couple of weeks, because I was with my first family for a month, and then we rematched because we weren't a good match, and I'm not going to get into that because lawsuits. Anyways, I get there and I'm just like, oh my gosh, everything is in English, which I expected everything to be in English, of course. But when you're just switching it all of a sudden, it's hardcore. Like, I kid you not, I could feel how my brain was like pulsating because I was like, I am tired. And like, I think I have texts with my mom from like, I want to go back home like right now. Like, I'm tired of speaking English. Like, I do not want to deal with it anymore. Oh, and also, so you're going to understand through this episode that my mom is like my best friend. We talk almost every day, okay? My mom didn't have a smartphone at the time. So the only way we could talk was through email. We would email. You know how hardcore it is? Like, my daughter is immigrated. I do not know if she's fine or not, and we're just emailing. Yeah, like she didn't even have WhatsApp at the time, and this was 2018. That was not that long ago. So it was rough. My first couple of days, my first couple of weeks were rough. Then the family, we rematch, and when you're an au pair, if you're going into rematch and you don't find a new family in 2 weeks, you're sent back home. So at this point, I'm like, I am going to be sent back home, and I'm not even going to make back the investment that we put in to be able to come to the country. Forget about saving money. I'm going to lose money. So at this point, touching down in the US didn't feel like freedom. It felt like I was free falling into anxiety, into worries, into what is going to happen to me. Am I just going to be sent back home? Am I going to lose all this money? What's going to happen? Now, I went to a little town called Prosper in Texas, okay, in Dallas, I believe. When I say little town, I mean little town. Okay, you had to drive like 30 minutes to get to a McDonald's. Okay, the closest thing was 30 minutes away. That's insane because I came from a very big city, which it was such a privilege to have lived that experience because now I look at everything and I'm like, this is a town. This is not a city. This is a town. Even San Francisco, sometimes I'm like, this is so small. Yeah, it is a city, but like, it's very small. So I think adjusting to, ooh, this is going to be my new reality hit me really hard. Also, I came alone. I didn't have family or friends. It was just me, which I know a lot of people do. I'm not the first or the last one, and I'm not the first one that has immigrated at 19. It's very common, sadly, but it's hard. I mean, you're going to a new country, new language, no friends, no nobody. Like you're going into work. Because I think if you're going as like as an exchange, as like, oh, I'm just going to go to school, I'm going to EF. Oh my god, it's going to be so fun. It's a different experience as to, oh, my livelihood depends on how good I do at this job. And I know starting over sounds poetic, and starting over, it's such a privilege, and starting over, it's something that a lot of us wishes we could do and not a lot of us can do. But in reality, immigration just looks like crying in a bathroom by yourself, very, very quietly so that no one finds out. It looks like cleaning bathrooms for other people. It looks like Googling names like DMV. What does I'm good means? Oh, because also like there were little adjustments that I had to make into, like, for example, the first time I went to Trader Joe's and somebody told me, have a good one. I was like, a good what? And I'm never going to forget this, okay? I was like, a good one. Oh, have a good one. And I was like, a good one what? And I was like looking at my groceries and I'm like, do they mean that one of these are going to be really good? Like, what do you mean have a good one? Or the first time someone told me, mind your business. Ooh, that one I understood it. Trust me, I was like, damn, people here are rude as fuck. And that one was my host mom. Like, that one was the lady that I was living with, okay? Which, oh my gosh, I could go into a whole other rambling episode about that crazy ass lady. Because I kid you not, I feel like I had my first panic attack living in that house. That lady was, honestly, for au pairs, if you're going to be an au pair, you can ask your host family if they are in therapy because they should be, okay? She wasn't, or maybe she was and her therapist just sucked, but that lady just left me with a lot of PTSD and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. So there were a lot of things that I had to integrate into my new life that were really hard to adapt to. The little language thing is, honestly, you learn them pretty quick, and if you know English, you're going to be fine. But I had to deal with the making friends. I have always been, or I had always been, like the popular kid. I always had people over at my house. I got along with everybody. I got along with the nerds. I was in sports, so I got along with the sports people. I got along with the arts people because I did arts. I did everything, and I got along with everybody. I never really had like bullies, or honestly, I got along with everybody. So I was pretty used to being popular. Not the American version of popular, but maybe the Hispanic version of popular. And when I come to the US, and the hours that I was working at with the kids were insane. Because also, I rematch, go with another family in California. At this point, I'm living in Oakland with also three kids. They were 3, 5, and 8. Big responsibility, crazy mom. The dad was actually pretty fine. Like, he was okay. We didn't really talk much the entire year that I lived there. But anyways, the dad was fine. 3 kids, crazy mom. I was working crazy hours. So I was working like 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then, let's say, 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. And then I was working like 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I had spaces in between that couldn't really allow me to do anything, because by the time I would go somewhere and get back, I already had to work again. And honestly, you get pretty depressed. And I think this is very normal for girls that are being au pairs. You just want to sleep. You know, you're with kids all day. The times like these in between breaks are the times that the kids are not at the house. So you can sleep and feel at peace. And even if you don't want to sleep, you don't have the energy to go do anything else. You're depressed. I think I was very, very depressed. I didn't have the energy to just get up and do anything. And the family for a while didn't really let me use the car. And I lived in the Oakland Hills. Even getting down the hill was like a workout. Like, I could never get down the hill. Like, it was insane. So the making friends of it all took me a long time. And a long time, not to say like 6 months ago, okay? I was at the house with the kids all day. I didn't really get a lot of chances to go out and interact. And where was I supposed to meet friends? Just adapting to, oh, now I have nobody. And now I can connect with people. Like, it took me a lot to be able to connect. And I think that's why I ended up with my ex, which was the most fucked up person in the world. Because when you're so empty and you don't have anybody, you'll go with anything. So at this point, I felt like my entire identity, like who I was at my core, was being just like ripped away from me. Like, I didn't have family around me, I didn't have friends around me. I was like working just crazy hours. Like, I wasn't doing anything that I like to do. I wasn't doing any sports. I wasn't dancing. I wasn't doing anything that I wanted to do. I think at this point, I start experiencing this internal split of, okay, I'm supposed to be enjoying this and I'm supposed to be making this an experience, versus, oh, I'm supposed to be surviving. I need to, the choices that I'm going to make in these next, I don't know, whatever many months or whatever 2 years are going to make it or break it. Like, this is going to just put a huge mark on my life. It was literally survival mode versus wanting to feel joy. It was one or the other. I couldn't just mix them both and just make something out of it. Like, no, it was one or the other. I think just like the not having friends, the not connecting with people, that like happened for years. Like, this is not something that just happened like my first or second or third year being in the US. Like, I kid you not, it's been 7 out of those 7 years, I felt like I just haven't been able to connect. And whenever I've connected, it's been with people that their parents speak Spanish to them and they have it as a second language, or people from Spain, which, yeah, that is their native language. Like, people from Argentina, just anyone that is not come here inherently, okay? I feel like Americans are just very different to Hispanics. Like, to me, meet someone and like immediately, we're friends. We're friends. Are you coming to my wedding? Well, I already got married, but like, you can come to my divorce party. Like, yeah, we're going to be friends. And I'm going to give you my 110% right away. I think Americans are very just like, you don't need that connection that Hispanics crave. Because I do feel like people that come from just Latin countries or like Spanish speaking countries are a lot warmer. It had to be said. But we crave connection. We crave friendship. We crave being around others. We crave just being nice. And I don't think Americans crave that. And this is generalizing, I know, because I also have American friends that are good friends of mine, but they also don't crave that connection. Like, they are not telling me every weekend, let's go hang out. And I know they love me and I love them, but they don't need that. They don't want it. So understanding this new dynamic was just very different. And it's been very different. And now I think I understand it, and I'm not, because I also blame myself for a long time of like, well, I can't make friends. There's obviously something wrong with me. Like, why can I connect with people? Why are people not liking me? Why are people not, reaching out to me? And I felt so guilty for such a long time. At this point, I'm like, it's not me. It's just a cultural difference that I have to adapt to. I don't like it, but I have to live with it. So what am I going to do? If you feel like you can relate, or you simply love the drama of everything I'm saying, don't forget to subscribe and rate this episode 5 stars. Throughout the years, I have experienced a lot of trauma. I mean, for Christ's sake, I was literally diagnosed with chronic PTSD because of everything my ex did to me. And he was, like my canon event. Because if you didn't know, I was married and I am divorced now. But my ex was insane and now he has a restraining order and a huge lawsuit on him, which, if you hear this, you owe me a lot of money. Don't forget. And although the years have been really, really hard, with being an immigrant comes a lot of guilt, okay? And I hope I'm not the only one. I think I'm not the only one. But I feel a lot of guilt. I make a good amount of money, okay? A decent amount of money, because I also live in the Bay, which is insanely expensive. And the way things are going, it's about to get even more expensive. But I make a decent amount of money. My family is still back home. It's not like I can just ring someone up and bring them here. So for 7 years, I've always felt so much guilt about anything I do. If I go eat an ice cream, I'm like, well, they can't eat an ice cream back home. Am I a piece of shit because I'm eating this ice cream and they can't afford it? If I go buy groceries, I feel bad because I'm like, I'm buying all of these groceries and they don't have any of it. And I feel bad about it. And let's not go too far. Literally yesterday, okay, I bought a camera yesterday. I bought the little DJI Osmo 3, whatever else. I was at Costco about to buy this. I work a lot. For 7 years, I've worked nonstop. In 7 years, I've only taken one vacation. And it was like a week, okay? It wasn't anything crazy. It was a week. And I couldn't stop blaming myself. I was like, I can't spend all this money in a camera. There's no way I'm going to do this. I make money off of social media. Okay, to me, it's not just yay, I'm going to buy a camera. Which, if I was also like, this is my hobby and I want to do it, amazing. I had to call my mom and be like, Mom, I know this is going to sound so bad, but I'm at Costco and I can't buy this until I get your permission to buy it. And she's like, Mommy, your life, I'm gonna cry. Mommy, your life is your life. You're meant to enjoy your life. My life is my responsibility. You can't keep worrying about what I'm doing and how I'm doing. Like, I'm not your responsibility. And I know that. Okay, I know she's not my responsibility, and my mom has figured her life out for forever without me. Like, she's been an adult longer than I've been an adult, right? But I just can't avoid this guilt of I'm doing better than my family back home is doing, and I feel bad about it. And the second I got her approval to go on, because like I think it's like $600, like almost 600, I believe. As soon as I got the approval, I was like, okay, I can do it. And I did feel a little guilty about it, but not the level of like, oh my gosh, this is like eating at my conscience. And that's an example, but like it happens with anything. If I'm buying a pair of shoes for myself, if I'm buying a pair of jeans, whatever it is, if I'm enjoying an experience, whatever it is, I always feel all of this just anxiety about it. But I've learned that I have to start giving myself some little breaks. Okay, I need to catch a break. Jesus Christ, I feel like a lot of my anxieties are not real. They're just things that I put into my head. And I've just started to be a little kinder to myself. Listen, I'm Hispanic. I was pretty much taught that if you're not doing something, if you're not cleaning, if you're not studying, if you're not reading, if you're not doing something, you're wasting time. So I've never really been good at just chilling. Listen, not knowing how to chill, it's a perfect formula for anxiety and depression. And now I'm with a new boyfriend. He's the complete opposite that what I am. He's very quiet and he's very mellow and he's very chill and he just goes with the flow. I do not know how to go with the flow for the life of me. He's like, well, we'll go with the flow. And I'm like, okay, but at what time is the flow? Where is the flow? What is the dress code of the flow? So through him, I've been seeing my life through a different lens. He's like, Love, you're doing so much. You're doing great. You know, like there's people at your age that are not doing and they've not accomplished what you're doing. Seeing my life and seeing me through his eyes has made me just have so much more kindness to myself because I am my biggest freaking enemy sometimes. I swear to God. I think allowing myself to just release anxieties, release these ideas of me, it's allowed me to get somewhere between survival and dreaming, which is a place where I found myself. In this place, I felt like this is who I am, this is who I'm becoming, this is who I enjoy being. That is okay. Now, after 7 years, about to be 8 years of having immigrated, which also sometimes I think about it, I'm like, God, like there's going to be a point where I'm going to have been longer in the US than I did back home. Because I came at 19 and I'm about to go on 8 years. Only 11 more to go. And like, they're going by pretty damn quick. Sometimes I look bad at my 19-year-old self and I feel so bad for her because she had to go through so much. I just want to give her a hug. I just want to give her a hug and be like, just breathe. You're going to be fine. Just breathe. A couple of times I get asked what's been the hardest thing to overcome. I feel like the easy answer is my ex because it was pretty damn rough and like having gotten out of it is sometimes I can't believe not only like how well I got out of that situation. Because to be honest, like he could have literally killed me. Like there was a point where I was like yelling for my life. You know, like I had to go to the cops, bruises, broken lip. Could have literally killed me, okay? This man was like a 200-pound bodybuilder, whatever. I was like literally yelling for my life. Like I had to make my way to the police station. Like also the cops came here one time. Anyways, but I had to make my way to the police station. Broken lip, black eyes, bruises everywhere. He could have literally killed me. So like, yeah, that was a pretty damn hard thing to overcome. But I've always believed that body forgets and bruises go away and like physical pain goes away and you'll forget physical pain. But the feeling of being alone, feeling of having to endure so many things alone, it's been the hardest thing ever to go through. Because I was always like surrounded by people, you know, friends, family friends. Like I was always surrounded by somebody. And having to go through a lot of things by myself was just heartbreaking. Like I was at my wedding by myself. Like no one from my side came to my wedding. And then I got divorced, thank God. And like, yeah, I didn't need anybody for that. But going through the divorce, like it's hard. Going through a lawsuit with my ex was hard. Going through just so many things has been so hard. And being alone has made it harder. So I think that's the hardest thing. But how have I gotten through it? I think there's this part of Venezuela that I will always carry with me, and it's just being bright about things, being positive about things. People always say that Venezuelans are always making a joke out of everything, and I don't think I'm necessarily making funsies of everything. Like, I'm not that person, but I do always see things from a lighter eye than other people would, and I think that's just who we are at our core, and that's probably what's gotten me through some pretty dark times here. And although I will always carry my country with me, I don't feel like it's home now. And I think this is something that a lot of immigrants have to go through after a while, because you don't feel like you're from here, you don't feel like you're from there, you don't feel like you belong in either one. I feel like my apartment is my home. Honestly, I feel like my apartment is my safe place. Not necessarily, like the Bay. I don't feel like the Bay it's my home. The Bay it's its own world. But I feel like slowly but surely I'm creating just an environment that's made me feel safe. But I wouldn't be able to create this environment without that little 19-year-old that got on a plane with $200 to her name and got to figure things out. She was so scared. She was so stubborn. I am still stubborn. But she was so damn brave. At least once a week, I'm like, I can't believe I did this, but thank you so much. And yes, I do see my 19-year-old self like as a completely different human, because she was a completely different human, trust me. And at least once a week, I kid you not, I'm like, thank God she got on that plane. So if you're also an immigrant, or if you're also starting from zero in a new point of your life because you had to leave your partner and you have to, I don't know, find a new home by yourself and go to a new city, or just rebuild your life, I see you. Okay, you're not alone. And the only and the best advice I can give you is to trust the process, because it gets better. Trust the process. The universe will always work on your favor. Put the universe to work. Go manifest. I kid you not. I've been manifesting since the day I got here. The universe will work on your favor if you make it. So every day, believe that things are going to work out. Honestly, sometimes I want to get so stressed out about things, but then I'm like, the universe is working in my favor. Whatever it is, tough shit that I'm going through, will work out in the end. And then I relax a little bit, but I relax. So besties, if there's one thing I've learned, is that starting over doesn't mean that you're lost. It means that you're brave enough to begin again from zero. And being an immigrant has taught me that home isn't just a place, isn't just a city, isn't the people. Home is a place that you build within yourself. So whatever you are in your journey and whatever journey you're going through, just please remember that you're allowed to feel, you're allowed to speak up. You're allowed to take space. You're allowed to speak your truth and to create a life that feels like freedom. You didn't come this far to just come this far. You've come this far to go even further. And if you're going through the trenches right now and you feel like you generally have no one to talk to, no one that can understand you, no one in your family, no one from your friends have really gone through whatever you're going through, but you feel like you connected with this episode, please feel free to DM me. I always love listening to your stories. DM me, text me, comment on my post, whatever it is, I will reach out. I will be there for you. Trust me. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Besitos.